This week, Angelo finds out more about upcoming FPS Medieval, a dark fantasy experience that owes more than a little to classic shooters like Heretic. Nate and the crew from 2 Hour Steam settle in to see whether Osiris New Dawn is worth your hard-earned pennies, and I'm going to tell you all about the game I played the most over summer, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen and welcome to Player Attack for 2018. Let's start the year pretty much where we left the last one, with a look at PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Firstly, the game has finally left early access and is now officially available to anyone who wants to pick it up on Windows PC or Xbox One. The shift has brought with it a stack of new patches, updates and bug fixes, with the development team seeming even more intent on fixing the issues that remain in the Battle Royale. That said, an issue that has been persistent since the early days is the serious number of cheaters lurking around on the island. Anti-cheat service BattleEye has reported that more than 1 million PUBG cheaters were banned in January alone, but that number continues to escalate and it seems nobody's quite sure what to do about it. And after 2 months of being the #1 paid game on the Xbox Store, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has actually been knocked down a peg. The freshly released Monster Hunter World is now in the top spot on the charts. The console exclusive is also sitting at #1 on the PlayStation bestseller list, unsurprising given that it is officially the fastest selling game in Capcom's history, with more than 5 million copies sold in just the first 3 days after launch. That number has already increased significantly and is expected to skyrocket once the game is released for PC later this year. But our love of the Battle Royale genre is showing no signs of slowing, with Epic Games reporting a 3.4 million concurrent player peak for Fortnite earlier this month. Rather than being a cause for celebration, the extreme load actually all but melted the servers. Basically, too many people were trying to play, and this prompted not 1 but 6 different systems to fail. Epic reports the top focus now is, of course, to ensure service availability, and the studio has outlined a plan of attack that should hopefully prevent things like this from happening in the future, even as more people sign on. And on a similar note, an apparent leak has suggested that Red Dead Redemption 2 will contain a number of multiplayer modes, including, you guessed it, a Battle Royale style of gameplay. The story also hints at first-person mode for both campaign and multiplayer, and the introduction of fishing as a side activity. We are also told that Red Dead Redemption 2 will also borrow a feature or two from GTA Online, which basically means Rockstar Games hopes to continue printing money, as GTA Online was the largest driver of concurrent consumer spending for the publisher over the past quarter. But while some older games are still going strong, others are fading into the distance. This week, I'm afraid, saw the closure of Mojang's other game, Scrolls. Sure, it might be best known for prompting a lawsuit with Bethesda, but the digital card game never quite took off as much as the studio wanted. Development ceased back in June 2015, and February 13th, 2018 was the final day for the official game servers. All might not be lost, however. The developers have announced the game files will not be made open source. However, they are hoping to allow the community to run their own servers and edit the game database. More disappointment though for fans of Dawn of War 3, as Relic Entertainment confirms it has left the game behind and moved on to new projects. The game, an odd RTS and MOBA hybrid, launched in April of last year and never quite seemed to capture either fanbase. According to the publisher, it didn't hit the targets they were expecting at launch and hasn't performed the way they had hoped since. According to fans, it didn't hit the gameplay they were expecting either. In other unexpected news, it is February 2018 and another game has been refused classification in Australia. Yes, that is still a thing, even though we do have an R18 rating these days. Some titles are still considered inappropriate even for adult audiences. Anyway, the game in question is Omega Labyrinth Z from Matrix Software, which launched in Japan in July last year. The top-down dungeon crawler was set for worldwide release later this year, but apparently now it won't be coming down under due to some questionable content. Specifically, the local classification board took issue with one particular character, Urara Wurikawa. While her age is never actually stated, she is referred to in-game as one of the younger girls and depicted as being physically underdeveloped. Given that the game itself features female characters wearing provocative clothing, if they're wearing anything at all, you can probably see where this is going. The game has now been refused classification or effectively banned for depicting sexual activity with a minor, potentially without consent. Publisher P-Cube has gone on the record saying Australia's response was unfortunate but not surprising, so I wouldn't be holding my breath for an appeal. And finally this week, for something completely different, if you have ever paid attention to competitive arcade gaming, you would know the name Billy Mitchell. He, alongside fellow gamer Steve Veeby, were featured in the 2007 documentary The King of Kong, competing for the world's highest score in the original Donkey Kong. In the decade since the film's release, Mitchell has continued to play an awful lot of arcade games, racking up a string of high scores that were never quite high enough to reclaim the record he lost in 2010. Now though, it seems he couldn't even cheat his way back into the top spot. Donkey Kong Forum has officially removed 3 of Mitchell's 4 highest scores from its high scores list after claims the games were played using emulators rather than the original arcade hardware. Adding insult to injury, the submission video suggests a 1,000,000-point score was actually achieved through multiple emulated plays rather than in one lengthy session. The current world record for the 1981 arcade release of Donkey Kong is 1,247,700 points, recorded this month by Robbie Lakeman, an American who wasn't even born when the original game was released. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.